105-year-old familial history of UFOs. My paternal grandmother, my Maman, was born in 1908 in Diebolshiem, which is in the Bas-Rhin province of Alsace, France. It's close to the German border outside of Celestat, and to call it rural in 1908 is an understatement. She suffered with breathing difficulties from birth, and my great-grandmother, who I'm named for, took her to every doctor she could find. None of them could help and basically told my great-grandmother to prepare for my Maman's death. Instead, she took her to a faith healer of sorts. Not uncommon for the area at the turn of the century. This is the woman my Maman lovingly called the witch doctor in the Alsatian countryside. I don't know what this woman did to my Maman. She never spoke to anyone about what happened. But she never had breathing problems again, until her mid-80s when they returned and she was diagnosed with COPD, pulmonary fibrosis, and emphysema. She lived another 6 years after her diagnosis. I think 91 is pretty good for being told in 1918 she was going to die soon. Anyway, this faith healer told my Maman and my great-grandmother that angels will visit my Maman to keep an eye on her from time to time. After this, the phenomena started. During World War II, she met an American soldier, and moved to the US with him in the early 50s. I don't remember the first time I saw them. They have always been there. But I do remember asking my Maman if she saw the colored lights which followed her when I was little. Probably 5 or 6. She questioned me to make sure I was seeing the same thing she was. Then told me what I just told you about her childhood. Now that you have some background, there are 3 different phenomena I have witnessed, one of which my Maman never described to me. My Maman passed on in 1997, but I continue to witness the phenomena. In particular, I am seeing them more frequently around my dad, her son, after his diagnosis with pulmonary fibrosis a couple years ago. He is doing shockingly well by his doctor's POV, and has 0 advancement of disease. Something his doctors cannot explain. The majority of what I witness. Colored light is the best way I can describe it. It doesn't really have a shape, it's effervescent and translucent. But I get the feeling I could touch it if I got close enough. It mostly stays in one spot, but the light itself swirls around. Like when you put food coloring in water. It comes in all manner of colors, but most frequently I see white, indigo, green, and pink. It doesn't shimmer, but seems to glow inwardly without casting light out or creating shadows. They're usually quite large, taking up a space about 4 by 6 feet. Once I saw a green one which almost took a humanoid shape, but not quite. When I worked at an emergency animal hospital, I frequently saw the pink ones take a fluid-winged shape. When they did this, they were always near a very ill patient who would start to rally within 3 to 12 hours after I saw them. The second type is similar to the first, but these ones are smaller. They come in a size range from softball to house cat. These ones are mostly in shades of blue, but I have seen them in all manner of colors as well. They are more solid, spherical, and move around very quickly. But they don't incite any negative feelings. They shimmer, and even though they appear solid, don't behave like something solid. Moving through walls, furniture and such. My Maman saw and described both of these to me. She told me they are guardian angels and they are just watching out. The third phenomena is different. My Maman never described anything like it. I was with 3 friends and they all witnessed it as well. No one I know personally besides my Maman has seen the colored lights. We were in an area of the woods with some history during the Cold War. There's about 100 folk stories about the area in my hometown. Anyway, I was a teenager and we were being teenagers and going to the haunted woods at night. It was about 1:30 to 2:00 in the morning. We had the car parked in an abandoned church parking lot and were walking around the trees trying to find anything paranormal. About 3 feet from our car, a large red orb blinked into existence. I'm going to guess it was 20-foot diameter. It was certainly as wide as the 2-lane road out of the area. It was probably about 7 feet off the ground. Higher than our sedan, but probably not higher than a pickup. It shimmered and pulsed with light from within. We could clearly always see the edges, but it had a light getting bigger then smaller. Almost as though it were breathing. We got in our car and left. It followed us starting at about 4 car lengths behind us, but it started gaining on us. I got the impression it could have easily caught us if it wanted to. It didn't feel malicious, but it certainly wanted us to leave. We were going over 100 miles per hour by the time we crested the last hill out of the area. At the top of that hill it stopped. We stopped at the bottom and watched it. At this point it started dripping something which would continue the glowing pulse for a few seconds after hitting the ground before going dark. It dripped maybe a dozen drips, then blinked out. We didn't go back to see what it dripped. Post from user Ondine Monsters at UFO Believers at Reddit.